Not only is the terrible character writing a huge problem on its own, but the pacing was atrociously bad, maybe some of the worst I've ever seen in a TV show. Not just due to the awkwardly drawn-out conversations with long pauses between every line of dialogue, but the inciting idea for the plot raises a ton of questions. There's a map to Thrawn now? Like, what? Who created this map? Why would there be a map leading directly to Thrawn's location? I guess we're just not meant to question it, but even putting that aside, the story moves so slowly. If you actually think about it, nothing really happens until midway through the season, and the only reason it takes so long for anything to happen is because the characters make endlessly stupid decisions. In the first 2 episodes, the characters have a map to a different galaxy. They lose the map, have to track down the bad guys. In the 3rd episode, we have a big chase scene. In the 4th one, they have the opportunity to recapture the map, but as previously stated, Sabine makes a stupid deal with the bad guys. In the 5th episode, we have some weird Force vision flashbacks where Ahsoka is given her character arc of becoming her old self again after becoming a completely different character for half the show for some reason. And at the end, the plot finally moves forward with her jumping into hyperspace via use of the Purrgil to this different galaxy, which is what this show has been building up to since episode 1. And even when we get to this alternate galaxy in episode 6, the answers to the questions we've had for 5 years since the end of Rebels were really lame, in my opinion. What's Thrawn been doing for the last decade? Well, he's patched up his ship, he's got a fully stocked up army, and he's ready to go. Oh, okay. What's Ezra been doing for the last decade? He's just camping out with a bunch of snail people. Oh, okay. At this point, the plot becomes, we've got to stop Thrawn from escaping. Wow, how exciting. There's a bunch of nonsensical, stupid action, and it's over. There's no real climax or falling action. The show just ends because the writers ran out of ideas. For comparison's sake, something like The Mandalorian Season 3 was bad because the show had no plot at that point. The main goal of the prior 2 seasons had already been accomplished, so the writers kept coming up with contrived reasons for conflict to happen, like random pirates attacking Carl Weathers or Moff Gideon having a random Imperial base on Mandalore to give our heroes a bad guy to fight. But this show should have written itself. They had a very enticing hook at the end of Rebels. Where is Ezra? Sabine and Ahsoka are going to find him. The potential was right there, but they just stretched it out for no reason. And they clearly wanted this ending to be a Fellowship of the Ring-esque conclusion with melancholic music playing as we see all of our characters preparing for the next part of their respective journeys. Except in that story, I understood what drove each of the characters. The Fellowship was broken. Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli accept the fact that Frodo and Sam's fates are no longer in their hands, but they resolve to rescue Merry and Pippin. Frodo and Sam begin the long trek to Mordor, but they have hope they may return home. In this show, Shin approaches the raiders from earlier and tries to copy the end of Fantastic Mr. Fox. Balin is doing something. Thrawn escapes back to the other galaxy and has a master plan to do something. Ezra makes it back to the New Republic, where I guess they're going to do something. And Ahsoka and Sabine are trapped back in this alternate galaxy, but they have accepted their defeat. They may have lost this time, but it was destined to happen. Or was it? Because when I reflected on the entire season, I realized that the only reason the characters are in this situation is because they made every possible stupid decision to get themselves to this point. If the characters had quickly flown towards Thrawn's location after the events of the 7th episode, instead of slowly floating along with Ezra's snail friends, then they may have been able to make it to the Chimera before it started taking off. If they hadn't taken so long to scale the tower, stopping at the top of every stairwell to talk and quip with each other, then all 3 of them might have made it onto the Chimera and been able to stop Thrawn. Hell, even looking farther back than the finale, if Ahsoka and Sabine had engaged Baylan together in the 4th episode, they may have been able to retrieve the map, travel to this alternate galaxy, find Ezra, formulate a plan, and stop Thrawn together. But no, because they're all idiots. In the final episode, Ahsoka says that Ezra is where he needs to be, and they're where they need to be. But that's just Dave Filoni lying to you. At the end of this show, the villains win, and the heroes lose, because the protagonists couldn't demonstrate even the most base level of competence. My last major criticism of this show is that all the conflicts ring hollow. None of the characters opposing each other have any connection at all. When Ahsoka fights Baylan, there's no excitement generated from that because we know nothing about him. He says that Anakin spoke highly of her, but what does that mean? I don't even know who you are, dude. They clearly wanted him to be the inverse of Ahsoka. She strayed from the Jedi and turned to the light, whereas he strayed from the Jedi and turned to the dark. But that doesn't work because we don't know what his reasons were for walking away from the Jedi Order. I almost liked the scene where Thrawn says he respects Ahsoka. She's proven herself as a worthy adversary, and he knows her because he knew Anakin. But then I remembered that according to this show, he didn't know who she was until like an hour ago, and that completely ruined the scene for me. Ahsoka and Thrawn are very similar characters if you think about it. They were both discarded by the systems they swore loyalty to. Thrawn was exiled by the Chiss Ascendancy, and Ahsoka was expelled from the Jedi Order. Those two characters could have a very interesting dynamic if they came face to face, but this show wasted that potential. When Ezra made it on board the Chimera in the finale, I actually got excited about the possibility of 2 characters who have a pre-established relationship, Ezra and Thrawn, meeting again, hearkening back to their conversation in the finale of Rebels, which is still one of my favorite scenes in that show. But yet again, they waste it. And nothing even comes close to when Dave Filoni tries to write politics. There are 2 scenes in this show of Hera arguing with the New Republic Senate, in the first of which she's requesting a fleet to assist her in investigating the possibility of Thrawn's return, without providing any proof that there's actually a conspiracy going on to bring him back. And in the second instance, she is most definitely in the wrong as she's being reprimanded for getting 2 people killed on an unauthorized mission. Yet this one senator guy is so overly egotistical and malicious that it's laughable. It's a difficult situation because Hera isn't exactly in the right, and the Senate's actions are justified under the circumstances, but the writing is so bad that I can't really root for either side. I know the comparisons to Andor are inevitable, especially when one of the side characters in Ahsoka was one of my favorite characters in that show. Do you guys remember Mon Mothma in Andor? How she used her position of wealth and power to fund the rebellion? She clashed ideologies with Luthen, not agreeing with his extreme methods, only to go in all the way and sacrifice her daughter's future to ensure that she could continue supporting the cause from the shadows. Her entire character arc in that show is far more compelling than anything in this one. You know what else Andor has that this show doesn't? Good dialogue. Luthen's monologue of what he's sacrificed for the rebellion, Kino Loy's speech to the prisoners of Narkina 5, Nemec's manifesto that he left for Cassian, and Marva's funeral speech are all some of the best dialogue scenes in the entire Star Wars franchise. In this show, we are treated to award-worthy dialogue such as,
"This is the Clone Wars!"
"Trying to die." Incorrect.
In conclusion, has this show killed my investment in Star Wars as a whole? Absolutely not. There are still select projects that I'm looking forward to, like The Bad Batch Season 3 and/or Season 2, and I think they've been doing a great job with the Jedi video games, but it's never been more clear to me that this whole Mando-Verse concept has no artistic intent behind it. All it is a bunch of studio executives trying to copy the success of the Avengers, with Ahsoka, Sabine, Ezra, Mando, Bo-Katan, and Boba Fett as the main six, with Thrawn as the Thanos stand-in. As the saying goes, 3 strikes, you're out, and the Book of Boba Fett, Mando Season 3, and Ahsoka have been exactly that. There was a point in time where it was kind of fun for me to watch this pocket of the Star Wars galaxy continuously collapse in on itself, but it's not fun anymore. I can't keep wasting my time and energy on these shows that actively spit in the face of stories that I care about. But what did you guys think of my Ahsoka analysis? Did you hate it as much as I did? Or did you love it and think it was the best thing ever? I'm genuinely curious to hear what my fellow Clone Wars and Rebels fans have to say. So just whatever your thoughts are, please let me know them all in the comments below. And of course, as always, I hope you guys have a great day. Take care. Bye.